Under the blinding floodlights, IGA Swiatek stood still, frozen in disbelief. Her shoulders slumped, her breathing came in heavy bursts, and her eyes stayed glued to the court. The crowd, once roaring with admiration, now fell eerily silent. There was no applause, no chants, only tension hanging in the air. Another unforced error. Another point gone. The camera zoomed in on her trembling hand gripping the racket, as though it were the last thing keeping her from unraveling completely. The commentators, once filled with excitement, now spoke in hushed tones. "This isn't the Swiatek we know," one murmured. Fans who had watched her dominate on clay and hard courts were stunned. The woman who once seemed unshakable, the serene, methodical world number one, now looked lost, trapped in the maze of her own thoughts. And as one analyst would later say, if this continues, it could destroy her career. Before delving deeper into her struggle, the question that lingers for many fans is simple. Can IGA Swiatek fight her way back to the top, or are we witnessing the start of a difficult new chapter? Not long ago, Swiatek wasn't just another rising talent. She was redefining what women's tennis could look like. At just 19, she shocked the world by winning the 2020 French Open without dropping a single set. Commentators hailed her style as the birth of calm aggression. Her game combined surgical precision, quiet discipline, and an emotional steadiness that made her seem untouchable. There were no theatrics, no emotional outbursts, just focus. Her meteoric rise continued. Soon, she became the youngest world number one since Caroline Wozniacki, stringing together breathtaking winning streaks that brought back memories of Serena Williams' dominance and Steffi Graf's relentless consistency. Each match felt like watching a master at work. Her footwork was poetry, her rhythm flawless, her mental stillness enviable. She embodied grace under pressure, a player whose strength seemed to come from an unshakable calm. But being at the top comes with a cost. For IGA, the pressure to stay perfect became an invisible weight she carried everywhere. Every victory raised expectations. Every match became another test of endurance, mental as much as physical. And when the cheering fades, when the cameras stop rolling, even the strongest spirits can start to fracture under the strain of constant perfection. It didn't happen all at once. The unraveling came quietly. A few uneasy service games in Stuttgart. A moment of visible frustration in Madrid. A blank stare toward her box during a tense third set in Rome. At first, fans dismissed it as fatigue, the natural exhaustion of travel, press duties, and constant competition. But soon the cracks widened. The once flawless timing began to falter. Easy shots flew long. Confidence seemed to fade point by point. In post-match interviews, Swiatek still smiled politely, but her words betrayed exhaustion. "I'm trying to stay positive," she said after one loss. "It's been a bit overwhelming lately." To her millions of admirers, that line hit hard. Sports journalists started to dig deeper. Was it physical fatigue, overtraining, or something more profound? A mental and emotional battle with the pressure of maintaining greatness? "She's not losing to opponents," one analyst remarked. "She's losing to her own expectations." And from there, whispers turned into headlines. The woman known for her composure was struggling to keep her calm. The player whose game once flowed like poetry was now battling the weight of expectation and the fear of failure. The breaking point came one night under bright lights. A seemingly simple match, early rounds, familiar court, nothing unusual on paper. But what unfolded stunned everyone watching. Swiatek's first serve percentage nosedived. Her movement, usually fluid and confident, looked forced. Every point seemed to slip through her fingers. She looked repeatedly toward her team, her eyes pleading for reassurance. The camera caught her muttering to herself, "Why can't I do this?" A heartbreaking blend of confusion and desperation. Her opponent, sensing weakness, grew bolder. Winners clipped the lines. Swiatek's rhythm disintegrated completely. The once invincible champion looked like a shadow of herself. Then came a rare sight, an eruption of emotion from the usually composed player. She smashed her racket in frustration, the sound echoing through the stunned arena. That single moment captured what words could not. The breaking point of a perfectionist's heart. The crowd didn't boo. They just watched in silence. It was the image of a champion brought face to face with her humanity. And yet, even in her visible struggle, there was something deeply relatable. Fans could see themselves in her battle, fighting inner doubts, striving to meet impossible standards, and cracking under pressure. When she finally walked off the court that night, head down and expression vacant, the tennis world was left questioning what had happened to its calmest warrior. Some called it slump. Others said it was burnout. But those who truly understood the game saw it differently. It wasn't just about losing matches. It was about losing rhythm with oneself. Swiatek's story reminds us that even the strongest athletes are not immune to fragility. Perfection, once a goal, can turn into a prison. And for IGA, whose identity was built on control and composure, the loss of that control was devastating. Still, champions are not defined by how easily they win, but by how they rise after falling. Swiatek has the tools, the mindset, and the humility to rebuild. The same quiet strength that once made her unstoppable can now help her rediscover joy in the game. The journey back may be uncertain, but it's one that could redefine her legacy, not as the unbreakable champion, but as the one who learned to fight again when everything seemed lost. For fans around the world, the question lingers. Will we see IGA Swiatek return stronger, more resilient, and freer than ever before? Perhaps this is not the fall of a star, but the necessary pause before a greater rise. Because sometimes, even under the harshest lights, a shadow only means the fire still burns behind it.